Suddenly, my body was shaken, and I woke up confused to see the tense face of my daughter. What is it? What's wrong?
Mom, please, divorce Daddy right now.
Huh? That one sentence from her woke me up in an instant. What did she just say? Divorce Daddy? I think that's what she said, but why would she say that? Why? Why would you say that?
Because...
And what my daughter told me was a shocking truth. My name is Ella Stewart, and I'm 34 years old. I work hard as a sales representative for a major insurance company. I can't work overtime because I have to pick up my daughter from daycare. This means that I have to work as much as I can between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. I started working at my current job before I got married, and 10 years have already passed. I have established a successful career and now hold a respectable position. And just because I am married and have a child does not mean I can compromise. Why am I so desperate about my work? The reason was my daughter, Sasha. Sasha turned 5 years old recently, and she's the most innocent girl I have ever met. I wonder if she's really our biological child, as she is so intelligent and mature beyond her years. As a parent, I want to provide my daughter with opportunities to learn and grow, while also guiding her towards positive experiences. But in this day and age, everything costs money. I need to work hard and save as much money as possible for my daughter. I work hard every day so that I can be prepared for anything that may happen at any time. After hearing all this, some people might think, you have a husband, don't you? Or both of you work, right? Well, there's no denying that I do have a husband and that we both work. So why am I so desperate for work? My husband's income is low. That's why we are facing financial difficulties. My husband, Peter, works for a company, but his performance has been poor for the past few years and his salary has been steadily declining. His current salary is less than 1/3 of mine. I can't simply state that we can depend on him for financial support. Just the other day, after our daughter went to bed, my husband approached me apologetically.
I'm sorry, Ella. Can you lend me some money?
Lend you money? Why? I mean, I haven't received this month's living expenses yet.
Don't worry. You'll get all the cash in one go next month. I don't have enough money this month because of all the drinking and social events I've been attending.
You mean you spent your entire month's salary? I can't believe it.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't say no to them.
My husband has been like this for a while now. He refuses to put in money for living expenses for any reason, and on top of that, he asks me to lend him money. His reasons are due to the drinking parties and social events and sending money to his parents. I don't know if he is really spending it on those things, but I don't even have the energy to question him anymore. But what would my husband do if I did not lend him money? From what I've heard before, his salary is so low that he can't afford to put any money into savings and his account is empty. In other words, if I needed money, my husband would have to borrow it from somewhere. He would then be in huge debt. My daughter is only 5 years old, and I don't want him to be in debt. I don't want her to think that her father is such a lousy person. Because of this, I always lent my husband money. Here. For now, $200 is fine, right?
Thank you, Ella. I'll pay you back next month.
That's what you said before, but I never got any money back from you.
Sorry. But next month, I'll make sure not to go to any drinks or social events.
Get your act together, okay? We have Sasha too.
Yeah, I know.
Does he really understand? I could only sigh with such doubts in my mind. The reason I go to such lengths is not just because I love my husband. It is because my husband is a good father to my daughter. He always makes time for Sasha at least once out of his 2 days off a week. On this particular day again, when our daughter woke up, my husband began to say this.
Ella, I'll watch Sasha, so why don't you go out for a bit for a change?
Huh? But I have to take care of the house and stuff.
It's okay. We can have lunch delivered and I'll do as much housework as I can.
You sure? Sasha, will you be okay with just you and Daddy? I asked, and she gave me a cute half-asleep smile and hugged me with all her might.
It's okay. I can stay home alone with Daddy.
Really? Then can I go shopping for a bit?
Sure. Oh, but you have to buy me a souvenir too.
Sure. I'll make sure to go to your favorite bakery.
Really? Yay! Thanks, Mom.
Even though she is only 5 years old, I am impressed with how she'd listen well to us. I'm not that worried because it's not like I'm leaving her alone at home, but I still feel a little uneasy when I leave her in my husband's hands. I have my phone number in a pouch for her to have in case something happens. I tell her to call me if anything happens, so I think they'll be fine. So, I went shopping alone for the first time in a long time. But when I finally arrived at the department store, I couldn't bring myself to look at my own stuff. In the end, I bought one item each that I thought my daughter would like and came home with her favorite chocolate bread. I'm home! When I opened the front door, my daughter came running up to me with great speed. She jumps on me and gives me a huge hug and gives me a big smile.
Mommy, welcome home. Did you have fun shopping?
I'm home, Sasha. Yes, it's been a while since I've had fun. Here's a souvenir for you.
My favorite clothes. And yay, chocolate bread.
Let's eat that tomorrow, okay? I mean, where's Daddy?
He's on the phone with someone on the balcony.
On the phone? On the balcony, my husband was on the phone with someone while smoking a cigarette. When I knocked on the window, my husband hung up the phone in surprise, and in a surprising tone said,
You're home?
Yeah, I'm home. Who are you on the phone with?
Oh no, it's just work stuff.
You were talking on the phone, leaving Sasha all alone?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was kind of urgent. Sorry, Sasha.
My husband apologized with a goofy smile. My daughter puffed out her cheeks. Then she clung to me and opened her mouth to accuse my husband.
You know, Mommy, Daddy was on the phone several times today, even when I asked him to play with me.
Is that so?
That's right. I wanted to read a picture book with him.
I glanced at my husband, and he quickly averted his gaze, looking awkward. After that, the three of us ate dinner, took a bath together with Sasha, and tried to spend as much time together as possible. That night, I stopped my husband as he was going to bed and questioned him. Hey, Peter, what's the meaning of this? Getting calls on your days off? So you're really busy with work?
Huh? Yeah, that's right. I've actually been working more overtime.
Well, that's true. You've certainly been coming home late these past few months. But wasn't that because you were out drinking with your colleagues?
No, like I said, it was overtime. Anyway, Sasha's not in any danger. I've been keeping an eye on her. I'm sorry about the phone calls, okay?
But Sasha seemed lonely. I'll take Sasha out with me next time, so if you're busy at work, just let me know in advance.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to bed.
My husband said good night and went to the bedroom with his phone tightly in his hands. For some reason, I have been sleeping with our daughter for the past 6 months, and my husband has been using the bedroom by himself. It's not that I don't like sleeping with my daughter, but we inevitably spend less time together as a couple. My husband, on the other hand, doesn't say anything in particular about it, and doesn't seem to be dissatisfied with the current situation. If everyone in the family is not dissatisfied, that's great, but I am his wife as well. His lack of interest in me as a woman left me feeling alone. Then one day,
Hey, Mommy! Mommy, wake up!
Suddenly my body was shaken and I woke up confused to see the tense face of my daughter. I checked the digital clock on the bedside table and saw that it was 2 a.m. There was no noise from outside the room, so my husband must already be asleep. I slowly sat up and asked my daughter, What is it? What's wrong?
Mommy, please.
Please?
Divorce Daddy right now.
Wait, what? That one sentence from her woke me up in an instant. What did she just say? Divorce Daddy? I think that's what she said, but why would she say that? Confused, I asked my daughter, Why? Why would you say that?
Because if you don't, Mommy will die.
Die? What are you talking about? I'm not sick or anything, you know.
That's not it. Daddy's going to...
What's going on? My daughter finally began to cry. As I gently rubbed her back, she gradually calmed down and slowly began to speak.
Earlier, I woke up because I had to go to the bathroom. Then, I heard Daddy calling someone again in the room.
Calling someone? What was he talking about?
He said, I'm going to get her into an accident, and as long as there's insurance money, then we'd be all set. I didn't know what the insurance money was, but I knew he was trying to get Mommy into an accident on purpose.
What? Peter was trying to do that?
Besides, Daddy said to that person on the phone that he loves her. I love you is a word you only use for people you really love, right? Why did Daddy say that to someone who's not you, Mommy?
Sasha. My daughter looked at me again with a tearful face. She's only 5 years old. But she was already 5 years old. She probably understands the meaning of words to some extent and is able to sense our feelings by the tone of our voice and facial expressions. No, perhaps children are more sensitive in their environment, more than adults. In her own way, she must have been concerned about my safety. At that moment, tears welled up in my eyes as I felt sorry for my daughter and angry at my husband. She tried so hard to protect me, even though she was a child. Since she had finally gathered up the courage to act, I couldn't just neglect her like this. I had to get my act together. I looked my daughter firmly in the eye and opened my mouth. Sasha, from now on, listen to your mommy very carefully.
Yes, I will.
If what Sasha just told me is true, Mommy can't be with Daddy anymore.
Yeah.
I'm leaving this house. What do you want to do, Sasha? She was silent, thinking something over. But right after that, she looks me in the eye and says this.
I want to be with Mommy.
Are you sure?
Yes, I want to be with you, Mommy. If it's not you, then I don't want that.
Sasha, okay, I got it. Then let's go with Mommy.
Okay.
I instructed my daughter to pack her own luggage. Then she packed her backpack as quickly as possible, making as little noise as possible. She was probably being careful in her own way so that my husband wouldn't find out. I wondered when she had grown up so much. Tears welled up in my eyes as I watched my daughter. And I began to pack my bags as well. Then I put my wedding ring on the table and left the house with my daughter. When I rang the intercom at my parents' house at 5 a.m., my mother, dressed in her pajamas, appeared.
Oh, Ella? And Sasha? What on earth are you two here at this hour?
Sorry, Mom. Do you mind if we stay for a little while?
We don't mind, but what's going on?
Can we come in? I want to talk to Dad as well. I was led into the living room and put my daughter to bed in the next room. She must have been very tired because she fell asleep as soon as she lay down. In the living room, there was a cup of tea that my mom had brewed. I took a sip of it and slowly opened my mouth. Actually, Peter seems to be trying to kill me. My mom and Dad were both speechless. My dad managed to squeeze out a few words while showing his agitation.
What do you mean? Why would Peter do such a thing?
Sasha said that he told somebody that he loved that person. I think he's cheating on me.
Cheating? But do you have any evidence?
That's what I thought, so I brought this as quickly as I could. I brought the tablet that Peter usually uses.
Tablet?
I took out from my bag the tablet my husband uses at home. If my guess was correct, my husband never leaves messages on his phone. The phone is always left unguarded around the house. Considering these facts, I thought that he uses his phone only for calls and that he uses something else to send and receive messages from his mistress. The tablet is in the bag my husband usually uses. Since I never use it, it was unlocked. With my father and mother watching over me, I opened the mail app on the tablet. Sure enough, there were a lot of messages with a woman who seems to be his mistress.
Isn't this...
My mother pointed with a trembling voice. The emails contained detailed plans to kill me. I took pictures of all of them and left them as evidence. I found a printer that my dad was using, so I printed out all the message exchanges. At that moment, the phone in my bag rang, announcing an incoming call from my husband. Without hesitation, I pressed the answer button and turned on the speaker so my parents could hear me. Hello?
Ella, is that you? Where are you right now? I was surprised when I woke up and you and Sasha were both gone.
I see. That's all you have to say?
Huh? What's up with you? I was worried about you both.
Worried? How can you say that when you were planning to kill me?
What?
The tone of my husband's voice changes at once. I guess he never thought that his plan had been discovered. He must have started calling his mistress when I went to bed, and yet I knew about the plan, and it must have been terrifying for him. He is so oblivious. He doesn't know that I have a powerful ally, Sasha. I made the facts clear to him, even though he didn't understand the situation. Sasha told me all about your little plan. She told me you were planning to cause an accident for me.
Sasha? No way. That can't be true.
No, it's true. She told me exactly what you said on the phone to your lover. She told me about your plan to get me into an accident so you can get the insurance money.
Wait, how did you...
Aha! I knew it. I knew you were cheating on me, and I knew you were after my insurance money.
Ugh.
My husband slipped up and got silent. There was no way he could get away with this now that the truth is out in the open. I can't stand the shame of having a scumbag like you as my husband. I'll be responsible for raising Sasha. Why don't you just get along with your mistress? Don't ever get involved with us again. I will make you regret betraying our family. I found myself yelling at him over the phone, shouting in rage. Then I hung up the call without waiting to hear from him. Perhaps hearing my angry voice, my daughter woke up.
Mommy, what's wrong?
I'm sorry, did I wake you up?
No, I'm fine. Was that Daddy?
Yes, but it's all over now.
Really? So, it's just you and me from now on?
I smiled happily and nodded to Sasha. I hugged her as tightly as I could. Later, I divorced my husband. I hired a lawyer and was able to claim alimony. Normally, I would have had to file a police report because he was planning to deliberately get me in an accident, but I didn't want to make it a bigger deal for my daughter's sake. I would leave the alimony and child support to my lawyer and would not be involved with Peter anymore. He has since been disowned by his parents, and I heard that the person he cheated on me with also dumped him right away. He's now struggling every month with alimony and child support on his meager salary. I, on the other hand, has successfully found a new house and started a life together with my daughter. My daughter had to change daycare centers, but she seems to be enjoying her time at her new daycare. I am sure that many difficulties await us in the future. Still, I am determined to overcome these difficulties together with my strong daughter. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.
My husband shares our daughter's pic to the family chat group, saying she's cute but doesn't look like me. I reply, "That's your mistress's child."
After marriage, I've been blamed by my in-laws for not being able to have children. Finally, when a child was born, I was ostracized again because it's a girl. Moreover, my husband doesn't support me at all. Then my husband sent a picture of our child to a group WhatsApp with my in-laws.
She is cute, unlike my wife.
I was so angry at my husband's comments that I decided to expose his secret. Because that child is your mistress's child. My in-laws seem confused, writing, "Huh?" In the end, things are going to get really difficult for my husband's family. My name is Monica Stone, and I'm 32 years old. I am a hard-working office worker. I'm in the 5th year of marriage with my husband, and we have a 1-month-old daughter named Molly. Our family of 3 live in an apartment. After marriage, we struggled for some time to have a child. It was a source of great distress for us. Finally, during that difficult period, I gave birth to a daughter. That's why I find Molly, whom I gave birth to with great pain, irresistibly adorable. However, it seems that both my in-laws and my husband are dissatisfied with me for giving birth to Molly. My husband, Hank, was a classmate of mine from high school. In high school, he was a refreshingly good-looking guy, cheerful and sociable, popular with both boys and girls alike. He was so popular that girls even formed a fan club for him. Although I didn't join the fan club, I secretly admired Hank as well, thinking he was cool. However, I was quite shy back then, so I never approached Hank, and we weren't particularly close during our school days. I met Hank again at a reunion and we quickly became friends. My friend Sarah was the bridge between us. Sarah was also a classmate from high school and she was very beautiful. She had a slim figure like a model and her facial features were like those of a doll. Sarah married a doctor at the age of 23 and lived a luxurious life. When I asked her why she introduced me to Hank, she replied,
"Because you seemed to get along well."
and that was that.
Isn't Hank kind and handsome? But it seems like he's not dating anyone. It seems like there are many women who are only interested in his looks, and he's having a hard time. Since it's a good opportunity, I thought I'd try to set you up with him, Monica. You used to like Hank back in the day, right?
Well, I guess you could say that I liked him, but why me? Sarah, you have many beautiful friends, so wouldn't it have been better to introduce him to one of them? Then she spoke more firmly.
Because you're my best friend, Monica, that's why. I think you and Hank are a perfect match. Both of you are kind and caring. I think you two could be a great couple.
Being praised like that by Sarah made me feel a little embarrassed. What surprised me even more was that Hank had also been aware of me.
I've always liked you, Monica, because you're so modest. I was too embarrassed to confess at that time.
Saying that, he started to approach me more actively. As Sarah said, he looks good, and he seems like he would be kind as a partner. Gradually, I found myself more and more drawn to him. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and before we knew it, we were getting married. I was truly happy. However, I had some concerns about my marriage to Hank. He is the eldest son of a traditional dyer, and he is expected to take over his family's business. In the early days of our marriage, we lived separately in an apartment near his family's home, but it was decided that eventually we would live with them. To gradually adapt to his family's customs, we had to attend family meals every weekend. At first, my in-laws were kind and considerate to me. My mother-in-law, for example, even said, "I'm so glad I have a daughter." However, later on, I've come to realize that these statements were just flattery. At first, there were no issues, but gradually around the 3rd year of our marriage, my in-laws started asking,
When will you have children? Are we still not going to see the face of our grandchild? Neither I nor my wife are getting any younger. It would be troubling if we were gone and then a grandchild was born.
In response to my father-in-law's sigh-filled words, my mother-in-law also expresses agreement.
Your father is right. Hank is the eldest son, so you have to have children. When are you going to get pregnant? You need to have children as soon as possible. An older birth is a disgraceful thing.
They constantly blame me for not being able to have children. It's as if they're implying it's my fault for not being able to conceive. I was fed up with being blamed during our weekly meals together. Even if I'm blamed for it, children are a gift, so there's nothing we can do about it, right? Even when I appealed to Hank, expressing my desire to distance ourselves from his parents, he sided with them.
You're the wife, so you should just go along with my parents. I married you because you seemed quiet, so don't complain. Isn't it natural for my dad and mom to want grandchildren?
In this way, he ends up scolding me instead. This is something I found out after we got married, but Hank seems to think of me as little more than a housekeeper who will do whatever he wants. Even though we both work, all housework is left to me. Even when I ask for help, he turns a deaf ear and insists that housework is the wife's job. Moreover, he frequently goes out to drink with friends or on trips, enjoying himself while I stay home. I regretted marrying Hank because it wasn't supposed to be like this. Up until we got married, I didn't realize he was so selfish. Even after that, I struggled, but it wasn't until our 3rd year of marriage that I finally got pregnant. With this, I felt relieved to be freed from my in-laws, have a grandchild calls. Hank and my in-laws were also overjoyed about this. At that time, my company was so busy that I often didn't get home until midnight. On top of that, I did all the housework after returning home and hosted dinners at my in-laws' house on weekends. I did almost all the preparations for the dinners. I might have pushed myself too hard, even though I wasn't in a stable condition yet. I collapsed at work, and as a result, I lost the baby. Despite me being the one who was the most upset and depressed, my in-laws directed their anger towards me.
Honestly, how can you take care of our heir like this? Collapsing over something so trivial and causing trouble, you're truly a useless wife.
My mother-in-law berates me while my father-in-law makes snide remarks.
I must have made a mistake in choosing a bride. To think she couldn't even bear children properly.
It's been quite a scolding. Who do they think is to blame for my collapse in the first place? Even though it was my in-laws who exploited me during the pregnancy, surprisingly, I wasn't blamed by Hank. Even though he's usually cold, for some reason he comforted me at that time.
It couldn't be helped this time. Luck just wasn't on our side. Let's try again, because it might work this time.
On this rare occasion, when he spoke kindly, I felt like crying. Sweetie, thank you. Relieved, the following year I was able to conceive again. Perhaps the difficulty in conceiving was indeed due to overwork and stress. For the second time, I took good care of my body and avoided pushing myself too hard. As soon as I started maternity leave, I returned to my parents' home, and there I finally gave birth to my daughter. Being able to give birth to our long-awaited child filled me with deep happiness. However, when Hank and my mother-in-law came to visit me at the maternity hospital, they began to say something unsettling.
Doesn't she look nothing like me? Is she really my child?
I was shocked by my husband's words. What are you saying? Of course she's your child, isn't it obvious?
Well, she's not that cute, you know. I mean, I don't have such a wrinkled face. Even though she's a girl, she looks like a wrinkled monkey, doesn't she?
She's just born, so it's natural for her to be wrinkled. Besides, you used to have a face like a little monkey when you were a kid. Instead of reflecting on my words, Hank reacted with irritation.
What's your problem? You don't need to get so angry. You're such a narrow-minded woman.
Without retort, Hank stormed out of the hospital room. I hoped my mother-in-law, who remained behind, would say something to ease the tension, but she wasn't that kind of person.
A girl, huh? What a disappointment. She's just going to get married and leave eventually, so she's useless. Just a money pit. I want you to have a boy next time who can be our heir.
With those words, my mother-in-law stormed out of the hospital room. I felt like something inside me snapped. I thought I was hopeless. After returning home and explaining the situation to my parents, they were furious at my in-laws. It may have been inappropriate, but I was happy that my parents were angry on my behalf. It felt even worse not being able to tell the truth to my parents, who had been happy about my marriage. My parents told me,
"Stay at home until you feel better."
And they even suggested that I should consider leaving Hank. While I was at my parents' house, I received multiple calls from Hank and my in-laws. However, what they had to say was not reassuring. Hank demanded chores like,
"The room is dirty. Come back soon and make dinner."
While my in-laws arrogantly ordered me around, saying,
"Being pregnant is no excuse to rest."
And,
"If you're a wife, help with our family business."
I was fed up with my selfish in-laws, who didn't even care about my well-being. Why had I endured this for 5 years from people like them? Around 3 weeks after giving birth, I decided to leave. I packed my things, asked my mother to take care of my daughter, and returned home with my father. I had been wondering what to do when meeting up with Hank, but fortunately, he was busy. When I returned home, I thought I should quickly finish my tasks to avoid any trouble. However, upon entering the room, something felt off. There was a scent of woman's perfume in the air. And it was a fragrance I had smelled somewhere before. I thought it might be my mother-in-law, but she didn't usually wear perfume. I had heard stories of husbands cheating on their wives during pregnancy. Feeling uneasy, I asked my father to pack up and began examining my husband's computer. I had a hunch about the password. I had seen Hank enter the password on his computer while cleaning before. The password he used was his car's license plate number. I immediately opened the computer and searched its contents, but nothing suspicious came up. I checked the history, but there was nothing strange. I wondered, am I overthinking? Then I suddenly found a folder labeled Sky. My woman's intuition kicked in, and I intuitively thought, there's a secret in this folder. As I checked the folder, I was shocked for a while. After being stunned for a while, I became hot with anger. After packing all the data onto a USB, I finished packing with my father and quietly left the room. A week later, a photo was sent to the group What's Up with my in-laws. It was a picture of a baby drooling and sleeping peacefully.
She looks so beautiful sleeping. She's cute, not resembling Monica at all.
My in-laws immediately commented on Hank's post.
She really seems to be sleeping comfortably. I feel like she resembles you, Hank.
My father-in-law commented in a relaxed, easygoing manner. Then my mother-in-law followed.
Suddenly the baby seems to have grown a lot, hasn't she? Monica, are you feeding her too much? You can't give a baby too much milk.
Even at a time like this, when they speak ill of me, it somehow intrigues me. I was on the verge of bursting into laughter at my in-laws' rare comments. Why do they feel so carefree to express such odd opinions about this photo? No matter how you look at it, the baby in this picture seems to be about 3 months old. Meanwhile, my daughter is still only 1 month old. No matter how much milk she drinks, she wouldn't suddenly grow so much. I immediately sent a message to the group What's Up. You're sending the wrong picture.
Huh? Monica?
Hank, sending a message in his agitation, seemed surprised that I was checking What's Up. Meanwhile, my in-laws appeared puzzled, asking,
Wrong?
Before Hank could come up with any excuses, I decided to reveal the truth. That baby couldn't possibly resemble me, right? After all, that child is the offspring of his affair. After my message, there was silence for a while. Nobody replied. A few minutes later, my in-laws sent confused messages like,
Affair? What's going on?
In response, someone hastily began making excuses.
No, I mistook it for a picture of a friend's child. Monica, don't say weird things. There's no way I have a lover.
Ignoring his desperate attempts to justify himself, I sent another message. I know everything, so there's no need to deceive me. I'm divorcing you. Let's settle alimony and child support through lawyers. Without waiting for a response, after sending the messages, I left the group What's Up. While preparing for a divorce at my parents' house, my in-laws and Hank came over. Hank looked pale and my in-laws wore stern expressions. Then he started pleading.
Hey, what are you suddenly talking about divorce for? I'm telling you that picture is a misunderstanding. Think it over.
After he called me and started lying, I was astonished. If he's going to be like that, then I'll do everything thoroughly for my end too. I went back home once and brought something with me. They were pieces of evidence of Hank's infidelity exchanged on his computer. There were snapshots with other women, emails planning cheating trips, and lovey-dovey WhatsApp exchanges with his mistress. As I showed them, the expressions of my in-laws worsened even more. But most of all, the identity of his affair partner was the problem. By the way, honey, how does it feel that you and Sarah have been cheating on me since before we were married? Hank's affair partner turned out to be none other than the classmate of mine who introduced him to me. She was originally dating Hank, but when she was proposed to by a doctor, she switched to him for money. However, even after becoming married, Sarah continued her relationship with Hank. She deliberately recommended him to me so she could continue playing with him while living a lavish life. According to their WhatsApp messages, Sarah also has a child who seems to be Hank's. That was the true identity of the baby Hank posted on WhatsApp. With no way out, Hank, being blamed by my in-laws, was facing accusations like,
What are you doing?
And
cheating?
In his desperation, he looked at me as if seeking salvation.
Monica, please forgive me. I wasn't serious about Sarah. It was just a fling between us. If you wish, I'll never meet Sarah again. So please don't talk about divorce.
I looked at him with cold eyes as he desperately spoke. Did he really think I would reconsider divorce because of those words? Of course, I rejected Hank's pleas. No way. It's been tough since I married you. You don't help with household chores, and you always side with your parents. And to top it off, cheating? There's no way I can stay married to a man like you.
That's true, but...
No excuses. Putting up a picture of your affair partner's child on WhatsApp is just outrageous. I can manage just fine as a single mother since I also earn a decent income. Never come near me and my daughter again. After saying that, I kicked both of my in-laws out of the house. Afterward, I filed for divorce and demanded alimony and child support from Hank. Furthermore, I reported the affair to Sarah's husband. As a result of her husband requesting a DNA test, it was confirmed that the child was not Hank's, but indeed her own. She had lied to Hank to keep him tied to her. Upon discovering the infidelity, Sarah was divorced and kicked out of the house. It seems that Sarah's husband will be awarded custody of the child. Although my in-laws ran a dying business, the poor quality of work ultimately led to bankruptcy. Already on the brink with debts, Hank's affair was the final blow. Eventually, they had to sell off the house and land, and after paying compensation to me and Sarah's husband, there was reportedly nothing left. Hank now works in a labor-intensive factory, while his parents make ends meet with casual labor and part-time jobs. The monthly child support is paid from Hank's salary. I, on the other hand, am doing my best as a single mother while watching my daughter grow up at home. My parents also love my daughter dearly, and we enjoy peaceful and happy days. I want to protect this happiness forever.
My daughter was rushed to the hospital. I asked my husband to come, but he prioritized his mother's birthday over his stepdaughter. The next day, he lost everything.
I will make you and your daughter happy.
Believing those words, I remarried with a younger husband. However, he didn't keep his promises and didn't treat me and my daughter well. One day, my daughter was rushed to the emergency room after an accident. I hurriedly contacted my husband. "Come to the hospital quickly." I pleaded desperately, but my husband refused.
It's the middle of my mom's birthday party. I don't care about someone else's kid.
With those words, my husband hung up the phone, but this incident changed his fate. The next day, he lost everything. My name is Abigail Martin, and I'm 35 years old. I'm a hard-working office worker. My family consists of my husband, Cameron, who is 5 years younger, and my 7-year-old daughter, Amy. I have been married to Cameron for almost 2 years now. Some might have noticed the discrepancy between the years of marriage and my daughter's age. Actually, Cameron and I remarried. There is no blood relation between Amy and Cameron. Amy was a child from my previous husband. My ex-husband was a kind person who cherished both me and Amy dearly. However, he suddenly passed away in a traffic accident. After my ex-husband's death, I couldn't recover from the shock for a while. If Amy hadn't been there, I might have impulsively followed after my ex-husband. My parents and my older brother's family supported me while I was feeling overwhelmed. Finally, when I had managed to pull myself together, I met someone through work-related connections, and he confessed his feelings to me.
Abigail, I really like you. Please, consider dating me with marriage in mind.
I was quite surprised by his confession. Cameron is a bright and sociable person who can talk freely without hesitation. I liked him too, but I never thought he would confess to me. At first, I rejected his confession. However, Cameron, who has a somewhat unreliable aspect, tickles my maternal instincts and makes me feel like I can't leave him alone. However, he's 5 years younger than me, and I have a daughter, so he wasn't a romantic prospect. But Cameron didn't give up.
I'm the type who gets along well with kids. I'm confident that I will be a good father to Amy. I will definitely make you and Amy happy.
Cameron's desperate demeanor made my heart waver. I had been worried for some time that Amy might need a new father, so as an experiment I introduced Cameron to my then 5-year-old daughter. And Cameron happily played tag and gave piggyback rides, which delighted her immensely. Amy also quickly became fond of Cameron. Maybe this person can heal the loneliness of losing my husband. With that thought in mind, I decided to remarry Cameron. However, there were also concerns. It was about the relationship between Cameron and his mother. He apparently lost his father at a young age and was raised by a single mother. That's why he comforted Amy, who felt down about losing her father, by saying,
I understand how you feel.
Previously, Cameron had awkwardly expressed this to me.
I'm truly grateful to my mom who raised me single-handedly. I feel like I have to cherish her.
If you only hear that much, you'd probably consider it a heartwarming tale of filial devotion. However, I felt uneasy about those words. After all, when Cameron is in front of his mother, he behaves like a spoiled child. He sticks to her side, always smiling. His mother also dotes on him. On the other hand, he is quite cold towards me and Amy. It seems that my mother-in-law is dissatisfied with the fact that I am older and that Amy is a stepchild. I overheard my mother-in-law murmuring during the pre-wedding introductions.
Cameron could have found a better partner.
And it made me feel disheartened. I was concerned about my mother-in-law, but it's not like I'm living with her or anything. I thought Cameron would prioritize our family after we got married. That's what I believed. However, my expectations were completely betrayed. After marriage, Cameron revealed his lazy nature. Despite both of us working, he didn't lift a finger and left everything to me. While he would help if I asked, he'd grumble things like,
I'm tired.
Or,
Isn't housework the wife's duty?
Even though Amy is still young, she voluntarily helps with household chores. Moreover, he hardly spends time with Amy after our marriage. He just stays at home playing games on weekends. Or worse, he watches boat racing on his computer and gambles while doing so. Even when Amy asks him to play, he responds coldly with,
I'm busy right now.
Or,
Go play with Mom.
Amy, who used to be fond of Cameron, gradually began to distance herself from him. Furthermore, he has a habit of reckless spending and can't manage his money wisely. He quickly spends his salary on things like gaming, gambling, or drinking out. The money left for household expenses is minimal. On the other hand, I've been diligently saving money for my daughter's future. Since Cameron isn't reliable, I'm the only one who can leave money for my daughter. Additionally, Cameron is extremely picky about food, like a child. He refuses to eat any vegetables, only consuming fish and meat. Even if I finally chop vegetables and incorporate them into dishes, he simply pushes them away. With Amy going through her growth spurt and considering the family's nutrition, I can't just serve Cameron's favorite meat all the time. When we argue about this, Cameron immediately storms off to his parents' house. It's unbelievable that he still sulks over such trivial matters like a child. I was utterly astounded by his immature behavior. One day, a few hours after Cameron headed to his parents' house, I received a call from my mother-in-law. Instead of standing up for me, she ended up defending Cameron.
It seems that Cameron values me, his mother, more than his wife. He even prefers my cooking. For someone like Cameron, who is in his prime working years, meat and fish are more important than vegetables. I don't eat vegetables either. Even though you're a wife, you can't even manage such basic considerations.
Cameron's picky eating habits seem to stem from his mother. Maybe his mother, out of her love for her son, has always allowed Cameron to eat whatever he wants. There's a limit to being an overindulgent parent. Since our marriage, I have been fed up with Cameron doing whatever he pleased. The idea of divorce crossed my mind, but considering remarriage, I found it difficult to take that step. Looking back now, I should have kicked him out right away, but as time passed, something terrible happened when Amy turned 7. Amy loves music, so I have her attend a nearby piano class. It seems like she has a lot of friends and always seemed to be having fun. That day, because I had errands the day before and was quite busy, it seemed like we might be late for piano class. I had been tasked with urgent work by my boss, so I was frantically working at home. I usually walk to the class, but that wouldn't be fast enough. I don't have a car, but Cameron does. However, he refuses to let me drive his car, citing,
I'd be in trouble if the car got damaged.
So I asked Cameron to drive our daughter to the class. However, he refused my request with a reluctant expression.
No, I don't wanna. It's a hassle. What's in it for me to take Amy to her piano class? Just because you don't go to one class doesn't mean they're going to make you quit right away. Just come up with some excuse and let her take a break.
That's not it. It's not just about giving her a ride in the car. If it's too much trouble, then please let me borrow the car. I'll return it right away.
There's no way I'm lending it. I'd be in trouble if my car, bought with my money, gets damaged. Besides, today's my mom's birthday. I'm busy because I'm going to join her now.
In that case, wouldn't it be fine to take Amy to her piano class in the car first? There's no time limit for celebrating your mother's birthday.
I want to go to my parents' house quickly and be the first to celebrate my mom's birthday. I didn't buy that car to chauffeur someone else's kid.
The way he referred to Amy as someone else's kid really got to me. Even though he married me, saying he would become Amy's father when it's inconvenient for him, he treats Amy like a stranger. Cameron and I had been going back and forth for a while. Amy, noticing the tension escalating between us, seemed to sense the impending argument and intervened to stop us from turning it into a full-blown marital dispute.
Mom, it's okay. I'll run there, so please, don't fight with Dad.
Seeing Amy's troubled expression, I was taken aback. We shouldn't argue in front of the children. I felt bad for her upbringing, and most of all, I felt sorry for Amy's concern for us. Cameron just snorted and quickly left, saying,
Well, if she's saying that, it should be fine.
He really is an aggravating man. I hesitated about whether it was okay to let Amy go alone, but the road she always walks on has very little traffic. I understand. Have a safe trip. With that, I sent Amy on her way. Somewhere deep inside, I had a bad feeling, and unfortunately, that feeling came true. About 20 minutes later, just when my work had reached a stopping point, I received a call from the police. I hurriedly answered the phone, only to hear that there had been a traffic accident. Rushing to the scene, I arrived just as my daughter was being loaded into the ambulance. Checking on Amy, I found her pale-faced and barely conscious.
Amy, stay strong. Don't leave Mama behind. Don't leave.
I held my daughter's hand and desperately called out to her, but there was no response from her. My ex-husband had also been in a car accident. Now, my daughter too. It's like a nightmare. I got into the ambulance and headed to the nearby hospital with the paramedics. I tried contacting Cameron, but there was no reply. Unable to wait, I called my parents and my brother and his wife, and they all rushed to the hospital immediately. According to the doctor, my daughter had hit her head and was unconscious, and the situation was critical. The image of my late ex-husband who died in a car accident flashed through my mind. I felt like I was going to collapse right then and there if my brother hadn't supported me. Finally, I managed to get through to Cameron on the phone.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? You keep calling over and over again, it's annoying.
My husband yelled at me for that, but I didn't have time to care about it. Please, hurry and come to the hospital. Amy was in a car accident. We're at a hospital near our house. I pleaded desperately with Cameron, but what came out of his mouth were unbelievably cruel words.
Huh? Are you calling me for such a stupid reason? Don't mess with me.
What's with that attitude? Amy is in a dangerous situation right now.
So what? I'm in the middle of my mom's birthday party right now. I'm about to give her presents. I don't care about other people's kids. Figure it out on your own over there.
Without waiting for my response, Cameron hung up the phone. My husband's abusive language left me dumbfounded. I always thought he was a jerk, but to completely dismiss Amy's life as unimportant? That guy. I'll never forgive him. I'll show him hell. As I burned with anger like this, my brother grabbed my shoulder tightly. Suddenly I noticed that both my brother and my parents were in a furious frenzy. It's the first time I've seen them like this.
Abigail, does he always treat you like this?
Upon hearing my brother's words, I widened my eyes. Apparently I was in a hurry and had the phone on speaker. My husband's merciless words were heard by everyone present. My parents trembled with anger. At this point, there's no more hiding. I confessed the truth to my parents and my brother's family. They were furious, insisting,
"You should divorce."
Of course, that's my intention as well. How can someone utter such cruel words when Amy is in such a terrible situation? Fortunately, thanks to intensive treatment, Amy's life was saved. Her condition stabilized, and a few hours later, she was able to speak. Managing to keep Amy safe, I felt relieved. My parents and my brother's family also breathed a sigh of relief. The next day, Cameron seemed to be in high spirits, even humming a tune. But then Cameron's smile froze. Understandably, considering my parents and my brother's family were all gathered at our house. My sister-in-law was taking care of Amy at the hospital. Amidst the tense atmosphere, I took the lead and spoke up. Welcome back. Did you enjoy your mom's birthday party?
Huh? Oh, well, it was okay, I guess.
Even Cameron, who usually holds himself confidently, seemed to lack courage in this situation. His gaze wandered around uncomfortably. Ignoring his demeanor, I brought up the matter directly. We're getting a divorce. Sign these divorce papers quickly. Let's leave the details like asset distribution to the lawyers, okay? Cameron looked pale at my words. My brother, with a stern look, continued speaking.
Cameron, I'm deeply disappointed in you. I trusted you to take care of my little sister. Looks like you're quite neglectful towards Abigail and Amy.
Cameron's expression darkened further at my brother's remark. Actually, my brother is Cameron's boss at the company he works for. While my brother had shown favoritism towards Cameron because he's my husband, that's no longer an option. If my brother were to abandon him, Cameron's future career prospects would be bleak. Moreover, the house we live in belongs to my parents. My parents gave it to me as a gift to celebrate my remarriage. Aside from my daughter Amy and myself, Cameron, being an outsider regarding the residence, has no rights. If we were to divorce, he'd have to leave the house. Realizing he was in a bad situation, Cameron broke out in a cool sweat and started trembling. Suddenly, he knelt down and begged for my forgiveness.
Abigail, I'm sorry. I was taking advantage of your kindness. I don't want a divorce. From now on, I'll change my ways and cherish you and Amy, so please spare me from divorce.
Watching him desperately plead like that doesn't affect me at all. Rather, I just contemptuously wish he wouldn't make such a spectacle of himself. I've been trying my best to maintain a good relationship with him all this time, but he's been behaving however he likes without caring about that. He didn't even treat Amy well. And on top of everything, despite knowing about Amy's accident, he prioritized his mother's birthday party. Even I, as patient as I am, have reached my limit. I will never forgive Cameron for trying to abandon my daughter when her life was in danger, even though she's his stepdaughter. His mother, who allowed such behavior, is equally guilty, so I said this to him. What value does your kneeling have? You have neglected me, and Amy, done as you pleased. You lied when you said you would take care of us before we got married. I can't trust you even if you apologize now.
Please don't say that. I'm really sorry for what I did.
All you're worried about is your own position, isn't it? Anyway, I can't continue being your spouse anymore. We don't need a father who doesn't care about his own daughter who just had an accident. Never again involve yourself again with me and Amy. With that, Cameron burst into tears, begging for forgiveness. My brother, parents, and I watched him with cold eyes. After that, Cameron and I divorced. Since there was no infidelity, I didn't seek alimony. After the divorce, of course, I kicked Cameron out of the house. Word of the divorce spread at work, and Cameron was rumored to be a mama's boy and looked at with suspicion by everyone. Unable to endure such a situation, Cameron finally resigned. He returned to his parents' house, but his unhealthy habits caught up with him, and he and his mother fell ill. They're managing to get by on his mother's savings, but apparently it's almost depleted. He's also working multiple part-time jobs, but due to his illness, they don't last long. Cameron, feeling anxious about the future, begged me for reconciliation, but I firmly rejected it. Amy and I are now living a calmer life, thanks to the strong encouragement from my parents and my brother and sister-in-law. Amy, who has been discharged from the hospital, is also smiling more. I will continue to work hard to keep my daughter smiling. Thank you for watching until the end. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.
Cheating husband who left me with divorce papers appeared 3 years later, wanting to get back together. On wedding day, I embarrassed my ex-husband by...
What disappeared with my husband was our wedding expenses that we had saved up so much money for. The left divorce papers were already filled out by my husband. Through a gap in the curtains of an unfamiliar apartment, I saw my husband smiling happily with an unknown woman cuddling onto him, with a small child. I was sure he would come home. The bells are ringing. That's the signal for the wedding kiss. My name is Natalie. 2 years ago, I was invited to a group date by a coworker. I met a younger man named Simon and fell in love at first sight. He was kind, funny, had the same taste in food, and was very comfortable to be with. We dated for a year and got married last year when I was 30. I thought he was nice, popular, and sociable, but now that I'm his wife, I'm a little dissatisfied. He never turns down an invitation to dinner or a drink, so he has to spend a fair amount of money. I want to save up for the future, but I am worried that we are running out of money every month. Today, my husband left early in the morning, even though it was his day off. He said he's going shopping with a friend. I wish he would think a little more about the family budget. But shopping is healthier than gambling because there's some sort of exercise involved. But it's a mistake when you compare something to those underneath to reassure yourself. I have a husband who spends his allowance every month and begs for more because of social reasons. My husband came home at night. What kind of husband leaves his wife alone for a day on his day off?
I'm sorry.
I've missed you. You've been out too much lately.
I said I'm sorry.
You don't seem sorry at all. Simon, remember when we promised we'd get married when the piggy bank was full?
Of course I remember.
The piggy bank you see when you open the cupboard. I've been steadily adding to it, but I've never seen my husband put any money in it. This is never going to happen.
Sorry.
Starting next month, you'll have to stop spending more than your allowance.
What? No way.
The wedding is one thing, but once we have kids, it'll cost a lot more.
Don't be stingy.
What do you mean stingy? It's a normal adult thing to do. My husband is obviously in a bad mood. I didn't want to say this, but as the wife in charge of the family finances, I can't just leave it at that. I can't wait to see you in your cool tux, you know. To add to that, I'd like to wear my wedding dress when I'm as young as possible, because those moments would be kept as pictures.
Okay, I understand.
Good.
By the way, how much is in that piggy bank now?
I don't know. I haven't opened it yet, but I think it's about $1,000.
Wow, that's great.
I'm planning to have a small gathering with my good friends instead of a big wedding reception.
Then that won't cost much.
Probably, yeah.
I'll leave that to you, Natalie.
Thank you. Let's work hard to save up and have a wedding soon.
Yeah.
When I came home from work the next day, the lights in the house were not on. I start to make dinner, recalling whether my husband told me he'll be late tonight. I decided to make beef stew today. It's his favorite. However, my husband doesn't come home even after dinner is ready. I wonder what's going on, not coming home without any notice. I wonder if he was suddenly invited to dinner or something. If that's the case, a word from him would be nice. I tried calling him, but he didn't answer his phone or reply to my messages. Was he in an accident, or was he involved in some kind of incident? No matter how many times I tried to call him, he didn't pick up. I called his office directly and was told that he had already left work. He's just in the middle of drinking with his friends, unaware that his phone ran out of charge. Or maybe he lost his phone and got on a train in the opposite direction. I paced around the house, checking the front door every time I heard a noise. Why did I feel so uneasy when it was just him coming home a little later than usual? Finally, I couldn't stand it any longer and decided to go looking for him. I leave a note on the front door in case we miss each other. Hey, Simon, I'm worried about you, so I'm going to go out to look for you. I've made some stew for you, so please heat it up and eat it when you get home. I'll ride my bike to the station. If he's just coming home late, I should be able to meet him here. And while I'm at it, I'll go around the restaurants and stores in front of the station to look for my husband. He doesn't seem to be around here. I have a bad feeling. The last train had gone, so I gave up and decided to go home. I hope my husband is eating stew like nothing happened. The note I wrote was still there. He hasn't come home. I wonder what's going on. I sighed heavily and opened the cupboard to put away my scarf. Huh? The piggy bank is gone. That big piggy bank is gone. And in its place a sheet of paper. Divorce papers? Filled out divorce papers, no doubt in Simon's handwriting. I can't think straight. What does this mean? We had a nice conversation about the wedding yesterday. Why a divorce? What happened? I thought my husband would show up and tell me that the surprise was a success. Time flew by in a blur. I started to blame myself. I should never have talked about money if it was going to come to this. Simon hated me now because I had taken away his freedom. Simon, please come home. Don't block my calls and pick up the phone. My husband will never read the note I held in my hand. He will never eat the stew I made for him. I couldn't accept that fact. After that, I couldn't eat or sleep for a while. I didn't want to stay home alone, so I went to work, even though I looked terrible. A colleague at work was worried about me and approached me. He was the one who arranged my meeting with Simon.
Natalie, you need to forget about him.
But he might be back soon.
I can't leave you looking like that by yourself.
He gave me the address of an apartment. When I went there, I could smell stew from the corner room on the first floor. I could see inside through the curtains, a woman smiling and laughing happily, and a small child. Oh my God. Now I know why my husband wasn't home much. He spent the contents of the piggy bank on the woman and the child. On the way home, I fell off my bike pretty badly. I was so shocked and in pain that I couldn't get up and cried on the side of the road. I cried all night. I cried so loud that I probably disturbed the neighbors. In the morning, I remembered that I had to take out the trash. I dumped the stew I had frozen into the trash bag. Then I filled out the divorce papers that he had left behind and submitted them. I replaced my old bicycle that broke in the fall and then went to a real estate agency to move into a new place. And so, it's been 3 years since then. I'm done for the day. See you tomorrow. After finishing work, I changed into my sportswear and sneakers. I got on my road bike and left the office. I've been longing to buy a road bike and I'm completely addicted to it now. I don't have to think about anything else, unlike when I'm at home, and can build up some stamina at the same time. When I was waiting at a traffic light, someone called out to me from behind.
Natalie, it's you, right?
I turned around and saw my ex-husband.
Natalie, oh thank God, I've been looking for you.
Simon, you scare me. What do you want?
Well, why don't we go somewhere and have some coffee?
My ex-husband said with a soft smile. Nothing's changed. Sorry, I'm in a hurry.
Oh, okay.
So what is it?
I've been wanting to apologize to you. I realized after we parted ways that you're the only one for me.
Huh?
So let's start over.
He looks at me with unclouded eyes, and I'm at a loss of words. Start over? What are you saying? Have you forgotten what you did? No, actually, this is a great opportunity. Let's start over as you wish, from my past self to perfection. I have one favor to ask you.
I'll do anything.
It'll be a remarriage, but I want to have a ceremony.
Oh, so it's just that?
Can you promise me?
All right.
My contact information hasn't changed.
Cool.
See ya. I was about to ride off when the light turned green when...
Hey, Natalie.
Simon called out to me. What?
You're leaving already?
Yes, I am.
It's been a long time since we saw each other. Why don't we go out for dinner?
I thought this guy is up to something. I'll go if it's your treat.
My treat? We're a married couple. We have one wallet.
Yeah? But I'm dressed like this, so I'm going home tonight. See you.
Wait a second.
As I thought, he's still broke as before. He said the wedding can be whatever I want it to be, just like he said 3 years ago. Any place I want, any dress I want. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. Okay, got it. I'll get going then.
Wait, Natalie, where do you live now?
Why?
We're going back to being husband and wife. We should live together, right?
My place is a mess, so I'll have to clean it up first.
I don't care.
I do.
It doesn't matter, though.
This man is so selfish. I didn't know he was so brazen and rude. Love is blind, but I really didn't realize this when we were married. I'm calling because I don't want to talk to him in person, so there's no way we'll be living together. Simon, it's me. I'm really looking forward to this long-awaited wedding with you.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you'll see me in my dress on the day of the wedding and be impressed. I'll see you on the day then.
Oh, Natalie.
I hung up the phone. This guy has no money and no house. I'm wasting time. I need to hurry up and get ready. It's going to get busy. The venue was a nice small restaurant. You can rent out the restaurant for a day and have a wedding ceremony and photo shoot there. Hair and makeup and calling a pastor are all included, and the staff will ring a big bell during the wedding kiss. The place where the leading role, the bride, i.e. me, will be waiting in a space separated by partitions. I can feel the low spirits of the invited guests. I had a final meeting with the staff and waited for my ex-husband's arrival. My ex-husband was brought there in a cab I had arranged on the day of the wedding and couldn't hide his agitation.
Hey, Natalie, are you sure this is the right place for today?
What are you talking about? Look at me. I looked at my ex-husband with the biggest smile on my face wearing a pure white wedding dress. Isn't it beautiful?
Natalie, that dress.
What's wrong? Simon, you need to get dressed.
How much do you know?
My ex-husband couldn't say anything more than when I looked confused. The partitions were removed. Cold-faced guests are lined up.
Natalie, you have guests.
Of course.
Why did you invite them?
To witness the wedding. My co-worker who introduced Simon to me called the others to attend the wedding. The MC starts speaking.
Mr. Simon and Miss Natalie, I would like to congratulate you today.
Thank you very much.
Well, you two were classmates in elementary school, and after meeting again at your reunion, Simon, who wanted to support the bride raising her child on her own... Oh no, this is the manuscript from last time.
My ex-husband was so surprised that he couldn't speak. The MC didn't seem to mind and said, the bride and groom were wearing the same dress and tuxedo as last time, so I must have made a mistake. There's no problem. Please continue. The staff at the restaurant said, so the MC continued.
As you may have noticed, since this is the second time you've been invited with just the bride changed, you may leave after the meal is over. At that time, the groom will refund your attendance fees.
The audience applauded.
What the hell are you talking about?
Simon was upset. Simon, just stay standing next to me. The MC starts talking again.
Here, the restaurant staff is supposed to prepare a surprise cake, but there will be no cake because the groom's attitude at the last wedding was so bad, and there are still some unpaid bills. What? Also, no champagne toast, because it'll be a waste of champagne. What?
That's terrible. I was looking forward to it, but because of you, we won't be able to have it.
Don't you dare play dumb. You wore the same dress and chose the same venue. Screw you.
I looked at my angry ex-husband coldly. Right back at you.
What?
Oh no, I forgot. I'm the beautiful bride for today. No, it's nothing. I'm just wondering why you're saying all this when you told me I could do whatever I wanted.
What, Natalie?
I was about to burst out laughing when I saw my ex-husband's stupid face. Then a big man shows up.
The pastor who was running late has arrived.
Thank you for your help.
Pleased to meet you. I apologize for arriving late. No problem. Please go ahead. Well then, By the power vested in me and in the presence of God, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Wait a minute.
The staff rings the bell. I gently pull off my gloves and slap his face with a big swing. My ex-husband was stunned. I said to those present, "My wish to pay back my ex-husband who surprised me by suddenly leaving 3 years ago. I was able to make it happen, thanks to all of you. Thank you very much." My coworkers are applauding happily.
I'm glad we were able to watch this happen.
The restaurant staff was also having trouble with the unpaid bill from the previous wedding, so they were glad as well. The ceremony was about to end peacefully with smiles on everyone's faces. But my ex-husband, not understanding what was going on, asks,
Natalie, I just want to make sure that we are going to start over, right? I guess this is the punishment for cheating?
Punishment for cheating?
I did cheat and I had a wedding here with a divorced woman with a child. But Natalie, you rewrote that memory for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good then. That woman, all she cared about was her kid. She didn't care about me. She kicked me out in the end. Can you believe that? That dress looks 100 times better on you than on her.
Really? Thank you. But I liked this dress better. I pull out my phone and show him a picture of me in a chiffon wedding dress with my remarried husband.
Who's that?
Me and my husband.
What? Your husband?
Yes, I'm already married.
What?
Look how cool he looks. He's the sweet guy who saved me when I fell off my bike. The photographer got the dumbest looking picture of the day.
Natalie, you said you'd start over with me. You promised to have a wedding ceremony.
Promise?
Didn't we?
We can't have a wedding because the piggy bank isn't full yet. My ex-husband looked at me strangely.
Piggy bank? What's that?
The piggy bank that my ex-husband took in exchange for the divorce papers. He doesn't even remember it? Oh well, I guess it's something I can forget now too. I feel like the last bit of something stuck inside of me had been removed from my chest. Thank you for letting me do what I wanted. I don't want to see your face. Ever again. Goodbye. And with that, the wedding was over. It's been a while since the wedding, and I've heard my coworker that my ex-husband has become distant, isolated from his friends. I can only say that he got what he deserved. My ex-husband, who was popular, was not invited to hang out anymore and was instead shunned and avoided, so of course no woman would come near him either. I don't want anything to do with him ever again. I just don't want him to get others into trouble because of his money problems. It was actually my current husband who encouraged me to get into biking. That day when I fell down and was crying, a bright red road bike stopped next to me.
It's not your fault. This bike was just out of date. You can buy a new one.
He was like a hero when he offered his hand to me. I was clueless, but as I talked to him about bikes, I felt completely at ease with him. If it weren't for him, it would have taken me much longer to get back on my feet. I have a new hobby, and it has given me strength. I am grateful to my husband for changing my life. On sunny days, we enjoy going out together on our bicycles. We enjoy eating delicious food and taking pictures along the way, and it's really fun to have a common hobby. Today, we're going for a ride along the seaside bike path together. Let's go. Be the wind.